I knocked on the door, my heart hammering. Emily answered, her smile hesitant, forced. "Hey, you're early," she said softly. "I thought we could go over the wedding plans tonight," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She glanced behind her, then nodded. "Sure, come in." The moment I stepped into the living room, my stomach dropped. Mr. Hale was sitting in his usual chair, arms crossed, eyes narrowing. Mrs. Hale stood beside him, lips pressed tight, a faint scowl tugging at the corners of her mouth. Daniel lounged in the corner, smirking like he already knew everything. "Sit," Mr. Hale barked, pointing at the sofa. I obeyed, though a cold knot of unease settled in my chest. Emily sat beside me silently. I reached for her hand, but she withdrew it instantly. I felt my throat tighten. "I hope you understand why we called you here," Mr. Hale said, his voice calm but heavy. "Emily's family is concerned about your background." I blinked. "My background?" "Yes," he said, leaning forward. "You come from a poor family. You work at a modest job. You don't have the financial stability to marry our daughter. We can't let this continue." "Are you serious?" I asked, my voice cracking slightly. "I've loved Emily for years. I've saved every penny to give her the life she deserves. Isn't that enough?" Mr. Hale's lips tightened. "It's not about love, it's about security. You're inadequate." I felt a flush of anger rising. Inadequate? So because I didn't inherit money, I'm not worthy of marrying her? Mrs. Hale stepped forward, pressing an envelope into my hands. "Here," she said coldly. "Take this. Leave Emily and don't return. It's better for everyone." I stared at the envelope, feeling my hands tremble. "Is this money to buy my silence?" "It's an offer," she said, voice sharp. "A chance to step away without making things messy." Emily lowered her gaze. I could see the struggle in her eyes, but she didn't speak. My chest tightened. Her silence cut deeper than the insults. "Emily?" I whispered, desperate. "Why aren't you saying anything?" Her lips quivered. Finally, she looked up at me, eyes filled with tears. "Please, just go," she whispered. I froze. My mind screamed. "Go? After everything we've planned? After everything we've been through?" Mr. Hale leaned back in his chair, eyes cold. "You see? Even Emily knows this is for the best." Daniel chuckled softly from the corner. "Guess some people just can't handle reality," he said, voice dripping with mockery. I stood abruptly. "Reality?" I shouted. "You forced her into this. You made her say that. How is that reality?" Mrs. Hale's face hardened. "Control and responsibility are not the same as cruelty. You never understood that." I felt tears sting my eyes. I gave her everything I could, and it wasn't enough for you. It wasn't enough for anyone." Emily sniffled, wrapping her arms around herself. "I didn't want this," she murmured. "Then why didn't you fight?" I demanded, voice breaking. "Why didn't you tell them we would make it work?" She shook her head. I couldn't. They said they'd ruin everything for me if I didn't obey. I'm sorry." I could feel my chest burning with helplessness and rage. I wanted to scream, to throw the envelope, to fight Daniel, to pull Emily into my arms, but I was frozen, trapped in their orchestrated judgment. "Enough," Mr. Hale said finally, standing. "You've heard our decision. Leave and don't come back. It's final." I looked around, my gaze meeting Emily's one last time. Her eyes pleaded, helpless, caught between fear and guilt. I wanted to hold her, to argue, to change everything, but her family had already won. I walked to the door, the envelope heavy in my hand. Daniel's smirk followed me all the way. "Good luck out there, loser," he said casually. Outside, the cold air hit me like a wall. I pressed the envelope to my chest and sank to the steps. My hands shook. The world felt distant, unreal. I kept thinking, why wasn't I worth fighting for? The streetlights flickered above me as I stared into the night, and for the first time, I felt completely, utterly broken. I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to move. I just wanted to scream, but no sound came. All I could do was whisper into the darkness, why wasn't I enough? I stared at the ring in my hand, the small circle of silver I had saved for years. I turned it over again and again, as if inspecting it closely could change the past. A quiet knock at the door made me jump. "Lucas." I called, my voice flat. He stepped in, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Thought you might need one." I barely looked up. "Thanks." He handed me the cup. I sipped, burned my tongue, ignored it. "I called her today," I said finally. "She blocked me." Lucas sat on the edge of the couch. "Yeah, I figured. Did you expect anything else?" I swallowed hard. "I don't know. Maybe a text. Anything. My voice cracked. I thought we had something real. Lucas leaned back. You did. You still do. But she's stuck under their rules. It's not her choice right now. I dropped my head into my hands. Rules? Their rules? I gave her everything. Everything. And they still threw me out like I was nothing. Hey, Lucas said softly, resting a hand on my shoulder. It wasn't nothing. You fought for her in your own way. That counts. I shook my head. No. It wasn't enough. I let them decide what my life would be. I let them take her away without a fight. And now, I trailed off, voice breaking. Lucas didn't say anything. He just let me breathe. After a few moments he nodded. Did you see the news? What news? I asked, lifting my head. Emily, he said. The Hale family didn't waste any time. They're arranging her engagement with some guy named Aaron Cole. Heard he's loaded and has a fancy job. I dropped the ring onto the table. What? Already? How? My hands shook. How can they do this? How can she be with him? Lucas shrugged. Family pressure. Happens all the time in their circles. Don't think she wanted it either. You know Emily. I clenched my fist. It shouldn't matter. She should have fought. We could have. I trailed off, voice tight. We could have made it work. Lucas shook his head gently. She didn't have a choice. You know it, I know it. But you still have one. I looked at him blankly. Choice? What choice do I have now? Your life, he said. Don't let them define you. Don't let her family decide what you're worth. I laughed bitterly. Worth? Worth doesn't mean anything when someone else pulls the strings. They decided I was nothing, Lucas. I can't just... My voice broke again. I can't just move on. You don't have to move on like nothing happened, he said firmly. But you can decide what happens next. You can choose yourself. I turned away from him, staring out the window at the dark city streets. I loved her, I whispered. And they made her leave. And now she's engaged to someone else. Lucas didn't interrupt. He just poured himself coffee and watched me silently. I could feel his presence like a lifeline. I hate them, I said finally, gripping the edge of the table. Not Emily, her family. I hate how they controlled everything. I hate myself for letting them do it. Good, Lucas said quietly. Use it. Don't let it destroy you. Let it make you stronger. I pressed the ring into my palm, feeling its weight, feeling all the memories of nights we stayed up talking, of promises whispered, of dreams we shared. Stronger, I muttered. Yeah, stronger. Lucas leaned back, smiling faintly. And remember, he said, you're not alone in this. I got your back. Always. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Thanks, man. A silence settled over us. I didn't feel comfort yet, but I felt something else, something new stirring inside me. Anger, determination, a fire I hadn't felt in months. They think they can take everything from me, I muttered, almost to myself. But they'll see. I'll show them what they lost. I'll show them. Lucas didn't interrupt. He just nodded, letting me speak, letting me breathe. And for the first time in days, I felt a little of the weight lift, replaced by something sharper, something stronger. I pressed my hand to my chest. I won't let them control me anymore. I have to become someone they can't touch. Someone they'll regret underestimating. Lucas smiled faintly. Now that's the spirit. I looked at the darkened streets outside, thinking of Emily, thinking of Aaron Cole, thinking of her family and their smug little smiles. And I promised myself silently, fiercely, I will never be nothing again. I slammed my laptop shut and rubbed my face, feeling the weight of every mistake pressing down on me. I can't do anything right, I muttered. You're late again, my boss barked, appearing behind my cubicle wall. If this keeps up, I'm letting you go. I know, I whispered, avoiding his eyes. Just what? Explain yourself. Now. I'm trying my best, I said, voice shaking. But some days, it's like nothing works. He leaned closer, voice sharp. Your best isn't enough. Not here. Not anymore. I nodded silently, feeling the sting of failure burn through me. I left without another word, stepping into the night air, cold and unforgiving. At home I stared into the mirror. My reflection looked foreign. Dark circles under my eyes, hollow cheeks, a man drained of hope. Who am I even? I asked, voice barely audible. How did I become this broken? A knock on the door pulled me from the spiral. Lucas. I called, hope flickering. Mind if I come in? He said, smiling faintly. I brought someone. I frowned. Someone? Yeah, my My cousin. She's smart. Knows business, marketing, growth, you name it. She says she can help. I felt a laugh rise and choke in my throat. Help me? After everything? Lucas shrugged. She believes you're worth more than you think. Sometimes that's all it takes. A woman stepped in behind him, confident, poised. Hi, she said. Lucas tells me you're a work in progress. I stared at her. A work in progress? That's one way to put it. Maya smiled, eyes sharp but kind. I can see potential. You just need structure, guidance, and someone to push you. I shook my head. I've tried. Everything I do ends in failure. Failure is just feedback, she said gently. It doesn't define you. You define you. Her words made my chest tighten. I wanted to argue, to tell her I wasn't worth saving. But something in her calm tone and Lucas's unwavering presence made me pause. I don't even know where to start, I admitted, voice low. Start small, Maya said. Set goals. Learn skills. Push yourself. Fail. Learn again. That's how growth happens. I swallowed hard. And if I can't? If I fall again? Then you get up, she said simply. I'll be here. Lucas will be here. You won't be alone. I ran a hand over my face, staring at my reflection in the dark window. It's been so long since I felt hope. You will, Maya said, tilting her head. You just have to choose to try. I nodded slowly, feeling a spark ignite inside me. A tiny, fragile spark, but real. Okay, I said finally. I'll do it. I'll try. But I have to be honest, I don't know if I'll succeed. You will, Lucas said firmly. Not because it's easy, but because you refuse to stay broken. You already have the fire. I clenched my fist. Fire? I muttered. Yeah, fire. Maya leaned forward. Remember, no one else can control your life. You decide your path. Not them, not anyone. Only you. I stared at my hands, then at the ceiling, letting the words sink in. My past, my failures, my heartbreak. They didn't vanish, but I felt a strange weight lift. I will become someone they can't control, I whispered to myself. I have to. Lucas grinned, standing behind me. That's the spirit. You start now or you stay stuck forever. Your choice. I choose now, I said, voice firmer than I expected. I'm done being someone else's puppet. I'll work. I'll fail. I'll rise. And I won't let them dictate who I am anymore. Maya smiled, eyes gleaming. Then let's start. Step by step. You've got this. For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of purpose. The night felt less suffocating. I clenched my fists again, feeling that spark grow. I will become the man no one can control again, I whispered, and this time I meant it. I sat at my small desk, staring at the screen as Maya's video call opened. All right, she said, adjusting her glasses. Let's start with marketing basics. Your brand, your audience, your story. I don't even know if I can do this, I muttered, rubbing my temples. You can, she said firmly. You just need to focus. One step at a time. Stop thinking about failure. Lucas poked his head in. Break's over, man. Time to push yourself. I can't even get a step right, I said, sighing. I failed before. I'll fail again. Maya leaned forward. Failure isn't permanent. It's feedback. I'll guide you. Lucas will support you. You're not alone. I nodded slowly. Okay, I'll try again. The first online store I set up felt like a mountain. I spent nights coding, writing descriptions, uploading images, adjusting pricing. By the end, I was proud, until the first day's results came in. Nothing sold, I said, staring at the dashboard. 0. Not a single thing. Lucas laughed softly. Congratulations, man. You failed. Haha, I muttered bitterly. It's over before it even started. Maya's voice was calm. No, it's not over. You learned what doesn't work. That's progress. I groaned. It feels like nothing's working. I can't do this. You can, Maya said sharply. Try again. Fix the mistakes. Keep going. Don't give up. I set up a second store. Adjusted everything. Launched it. Checked the results. A handful of visitors, one sale. Not much, but a spark. I sold one item, I muttered, half smiling. It's pathetic. Lucas grinned. One step forward beats 100 steps back. You're moving. Yeah, I whispered. I have to keep moving. Days blurred. Nights blurred. I failed, adjusted, failed again, and slowly learned. Maya taught me marketing strategies, Lucas taught me discipline, and I taught myself patience and self-respect. You've been working hard, Lucas said one evening, leaning against the doorway. Proud of you, man. I wiped sweat from my brow. I feel like I'm finally learning what I'm capable of. Maya smiled from her laptop. Exactly. Progress, not perfection. Keep building. Weeks passed. Months passed. And finally the moment came. I received an email from a big company. We'd like to hire you as a contractor. I stared at it, disbelief mixing with excitement. No way, really? Lucas laughed. Why? You did it, man. You're moving up. Yeah, I am, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I can actually do this. Clients started contacting me. Work multiplied. My first apartment felt cramped, so I moved to a better one, decorated it myself, invested in a few small luxuries. Everything felt earned. One night, Maya and Lucas were on a call with me. Look at you, Maya said. Who would have thought this version of you existed? I wouldn't have, I admitted. Not months ago. I was broken. Lucas smiled. You're not broken anymore. You've rebuilt yourself. I nodded, staring out at the city skyline from my new apartment. Yeah, they thought they buried me thinking I'd die. But I grew roots instead. A notification pinged on my phone. Rumors about Emily reached me. Her engagement with Aaron Cole is supposedly falling apart. I pressed the phone down without opening the link. Doesn't matter, I said to myself, but my heart clenched. It does. Lucas leaned back. Let it go, man. You don't need to involve yourself in their mess. Focus on what you've built. I know, I said, closing my eyes. I just can't ignore it entirely. But I won't let it control me. Maya nodded. Good. That's the right attitude. Keep growing. Keep focusing on yourself. I smiled faintly, feeling a sense of calm I hadn't felt in years. I will. Step by step. Fail, adjust, succeed. That's my life now. Lucas grinned. Exactly. And don't forget, we've got your back. I know, I said, voice steady now, stronger. I know. I looked around my apartment at the equipment, the notebooks, the computers, the little wins stacked together. This is mine, I whispered. All mine. And nothing, I said, thinking of the Hale family, no one can take this from me. I pressed my fist against my chest. They buried me thinking I'd die. I grew roots instead. The night stretched around me, quiet, patient, like the world was finally giving me a moment to breathe. And I let it. The spotlight felt warmer than I expected as I stepped onto the stage. 2 years had passed since I rebuilt everything, yet my heart still skipped when I faced a crowd. Welcome, the organizer said. Our next speaker has transformed his career from zero to success. I swallowed and adjusted my tie. Thank you, I said, voice steady but inside nerves fluttered. I spoke about strategy, persistence, and the failures that shaped me. I could feel eyes on me, but none of them mattered as much as one gaze I didn't yet see. After the applause, I stepped down, walking toward the networking area. Drinks clinked. Laughter floated through the room. I felt accomplished, but my mind, it was elsewhere. Then I saw her. Emily, standing near the refreshment table. She froze when our eyes met. My chest tightened. I approached carefully. Emily? I asked softly. She swallowed, eyes wide. It's been a long time. 2 years, I said, keeping my voice calm though my pulse raced. You look well. She gave a small, awkward smile. Thanks. You've changed too. I nodded. I had to. After everything. She lowered her gaze. I need to tell you the truth, all this time I wasn't free. My family, they forced me, threatened me. They lied to you, to me. I couldn't, her voice broke. I couldn't fight them. I stayed silent, listening. Every word was a hammer, yet it soothed and hurt at the same time. I regret it, she continued. Every choice I made that hurt you. Every silence, every whispered goodbye. I'm sorry. I swallowed. Emily, why now? She hesitated, then whispered, because everything fell apart. Aaron, he cheated on me. Humiliated me. I realized I lost more than just my dignity, I lost us. I felt a sting of old pain, but also something else, clarity. Emily, I said softly, I'm not sure what to say. Tears welled in her eyes. Can we try again? She asked, her voice trembling. I stepped back slightly, searching for words. I don't know, I admitted honestly. I want to, but I can't forget everything so quickly. I can't pretend the past didn't hurt. Her hand shook as she reached for mine. I know. I need you to hear me. I still love you. I closed my eyes briefly, remembering the night they forced her to leave, the words she whispered, the cold air biting at my skin outside their house. I know, I whispered. I can't ignore that. But love isn't simple anymore. Emily nodded, biting her lip. I understand. I had to tell you. I had to be honest. I let out a slow breath. Thank you. That matters. More than you realize. We stood in silence for a moment, the hum of the event around us fading. The tension of 2 years of separation pressed between us. I could see the vulnerability in her eyes, the desperation, the remorse. A shadow moved in my peripheral vision. Mr. Hale standing across the room watching us. His posture stiffened. I caught his gaze. Fear. Not anger. That was new. He looked uncertain, almost small. Emily glanced at him. He's still protective. Still controlling, she whispered almost to herself. I shook my head. Not anymore. Not of me. She smiled faintly, tears still glistening. You're right. You've changed. You're strong now. I had to be, I said. I couldn't let them decide my life ever again. She reached out tentatively, brushing her hand against mine. I missed you. I know, I said softly, keeping my voice even. And I missed you too. But missing isn't enough. Her eyes shimmered. I know. I wanted you to hear me. That I still care, that I still regret everything. I hear you, I said, voice low but steady. And I appreciate it. But I can't promise. I don't know what the future holds. I can only promise I'm being honest with myself and with you. She nodded, swallowing her tears. That's all I wanted. To be heard. We stood there a moment longer, hands almost touching, hearts almost speaking. I wanted to pull her close, to fix everything in an instant, but life didn't work like that. Not after betrayal, not after years of rebuilding. I took a step back. Emily, we'll see what happens. But right now, I need time. Time for both of us. She exhaled shakily. I understand. Thank you for listening. I offered a small, sincere smile. You deserve that. I mean it. I'm glad you told me. Across the room, Mr. Hale shifted again, eyes darting between us. I caught the tension in his jaw, the subtle fear in his eyes. He realized the power dynamics had shifted. I turned back to Emily. We'll talk later, I said, soft but firm. She nodded, a faint hope flickering in her gaze. Yes, we will. I was scrolling through the news when I saw it. Hale Industries was crumbling. Investors pulling out. Rumors of fraud. Daniel's name appeared in bold letters, linked to shady dealings. My chest tightened. Lucas leaned over my shoulder. That's a lot. I know, I said quietly. I knew their empire was fragile, but this is worse than I imagined. Maya appeared in the doorway. You okay? I nodded, though my mind was racing. It's strange, I admitted. Part of me wants to feel satisfaction, but another part, I don't know. I feel pity? Pity doesn't mean weakness, Lucas said firmly. It means you're human. I sighed and leaned back, thinking about Emily. She reached out a few days later. A simple message, can we talk? I stared at it for a long time before replying. Okay. We met at a quiet cafe. She looked tired but determined. I wanted to check on you, she said softly. I know what happened. I know how my family treated you. I looked down at my cup. Emily, I don't know if I can just forgive. She nodded, voice trembling. I understand. I just wanted you to know I care. I don't want to lose you entirely, even as a friend. I want to believe you, I admitted, but the hurt, it's still there. She reached out, touching my hand lightly. I know. I'll wait. I'll give you space. I had to be honest. I didn't pull away, though I wanted to. Her presence stirred memories I had buried. Thank you, I whispered. A few days later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered cautiously. Hello, I said. Mr. Hale, the voice said formally. I'd like to meet with you. I frowned. What about? It's important, he said. I'll come by your office. When he arrived, he looked smaller. Suit pressed, but his posture slouched. No commanding aura, no sharp eyes. Weakness clung to him like a shadow. Mr. Hale, I said, motioning for him to sit. He lowered himself into the chair, avoiding eye contact. Thank you for seeing me. I studied him, quiet. I read about your situation. The company is falling apart. Investors are leaving. Daniel, you're involved in fraud. His jaw tightened. Yes. I misjudged things. We need your help. I leaned back, voice calm but cutting. You forced your daughter to leave me, and now you need me? He flinched. No words. Only a sharp inhale. I kept my gaze steady. Think about that for a second. You made her leave. You humiliated me. And now, when everything collapses, you're here asking for help. Mr. Hale swallowed hard. His usual composure had vanished. Yes. We need guidance. Your expertise, your reputation. We were wrong. I let the silence stretch. The air between us was heavy. Pain, anger, and something unspoken swirled inside me. You were proud once, I said slowly. Proud of controlling everything, thinking your family's power was unshakable. Look at you now. He avoided my eyes. I know. I miscalculated. I didn't expect this collapse. I leaned forward slightly, voice quieter now, almost a whisper. You don't get to demand my help. Not after what you did. You take responsibility, and maybe, just maybe, earn a chance at forgiveness. But it won't be easy. He nodded, swallowing. I understand. I just don't know what else to do. I exhaled, feeling the weight of 2 years of betrayal and growth clash in my chest. Then think carefully. I'll consider helping, but not because you ask. Because it's the right choice. And only if it aligns with my terms. Mr. Hale's lips pressed tight. Yes, of course. I leaned back in my chair. Remember this, Mr. Hale. Power is fragile. Respect is earned. And life doesn't wait for anyone to recover from their mistakes. He nodded again, smaller than ever. No arrogance, no fire, only a man realizing the consequences of his own choices. I watched him leave, and for the first time I felt no anger. Just clarity. The tables had turned, and for once I was the one holding the strength. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped into the Hale family office for the second time in 2 years. This time I knew the stakes. Thank you for coming, Mr. Hale said, voice tight but commanding. I hope we can resolve things today. I nodded politely, taking a seat across from him. Behind him, Mrs. Hale sat primly, her posture straight, eyes calculating but attempting civility. Good to see you, she said, her tone icy but measured. Daniel lingered near the doorway, avoiding my gaze. His jaw was tight, his usual smirk gone. Emily sat beside him, her hands folded neatly in her lap. Her eyes flickered toward me, soft but filled with pain. Mr. Hale exhaled. We've considered all options. And we'd like to propose a partnership. I raised an eyebrow. A partnership? Yes, he said. You've built yourself, your brand, your business. Hale Industries, we're drowning. We need your expertise. Your leadership. We want you on board. I leaned back, studying them. So, after everything, you come begging? Not begging, he said quickly. We're acknowledging your skills. Your achievements. You are indispensable. I glanced at Mrs. Hale. You're smiling politely, but this is desperation, isn't it? She looked away, lips tight. We want what's best for the family. Daniel finally met my eyes briefly, and I saw the fear there. No arrogance. Just fear. Emily looked at me, her expression broken, haunted. I didn't know how to stop them, she whispered softly. I nodded slowly, letting her words sink in. I know, I said quietly. I saw it. And I understand. Mr. Hale leaned forward. Please, consider it. Your experience, your insight, could save us. I exhaled, calm, almost gentle. Do you know what I see? I said, voice quiet but sharp. I see a family that controlled lives with fear. That decided who was worthy. That humiliated me, humiliated Emily. Mrs. Hale's hands clenched briefly. Daniel's jaw tightened. Emily's eyes filled with tears. I see the truth, I continued, voice firm. I don't need revenge. I already won. I built everything without you. And I don't need anything from you now. Silence filled the room. Mr. Hale's lips parted, but no words came. Emily reached out, grabbing my hand gently. I still love you, she said, voice trembling. I looked down at her hand, felt the warmth, the familiarity, the longing. I held her gaze. Love dies when fear rules your life, I whispered softly. Her eyes widened, a flicker of understanding passing through them. She let go of my hand slowly, placing it back on her lap, still trembling. Daniel's eyes darted away. Mrs. Hale's face was pale, and Mr. Hale finally swallowed hard, his posture rigid, defeated. I stood. My chair scraped softly against the floor. I won't help. I won't save what you didn't value. Your choices, your arrogance, they brought you here. Emily stood as well, tears streaming silently down her cheeks. I wish things were different, she whispered. I offered her a faint, sincere smile. They are different. For me. I don't live under their rules anymore. And I don't live under yours. The room felt heavy. I could see the collapse in their eyes, the realization that the world they controlled had slipped through their fingers. Mr. Hale opened his mouth, tried to speak, but I didn't wait for him. I walked toward the door, each step firm, steady. Remember, I said over my shoulder, voice calm, controlled, power isn't in fear. Respect is earned. And I earned mine without you. I opened the door. The sunlight hit my face, warm and clear. I breathed it in, chest rising, heart steady. Behind me, the room felt smaller, the family smaller. Their empire was fragile, exposed. The walls they built around themselves crumbled, not with fire or anger, but with the quiet weight of truth. I walked out, leaving them behind. The world they thought they controlled was falling apart. I didn't gloat. I didn't smile. I simply walked, free, unshakable, stronger than ever. Emily's eyes followed me for a long moment. I could see the regret, the longing, the acknowledgement of her own fear. I didn't turn back. I never needed to. My life, my empire, my freedom, they were mine. Built from nothing, from heartbreak, from struggle. And now, finally, untouchable. The glass doors slid closed behind me. The city stretched out before me, vast, full of possibility, untouched by their chaos. And for the first time in years, I felt completely, undeniably victorious. The morning sunlight filtered through my apartment, warm and calm. It was quiet. No chaos, no demands, no echoes of the past. Just the faint hum of the city outside. My phone buzzed. A message from Emily. I hesitated before opening it. Thank you for not hating me. I stared at it. The words felt heavy but not painful. I typed back carefully. I don't hate you. I just can't go back. The reply pinged almost immediately. I understand. I hope you're happy. I put the phone down and let out a long breath. Happiness. A simple word I hadn't felt in years. Later, I met Maya for dinner at our favorite little cafe. The warm light bounced off the wooden tables, soft music in the background. She smiled when she saw me. You look different, she said, voice teasing but kind. I feel different, I admitted, sliding into the seat across from her. Calmer. Lighter. Good, she said. You've earned that. I laughed softly. I did. Took a while though. She raised an eyebrow. You've changed more than a little. No one could have forced you, and yet you did it yourself. That's strength. I looked down at my hands, feeling the weight of the years we'd gone through. I realized something, I said slowly. I don't need their approval. I never did. I just had to believe in myself. Maya reached across the table, touching my hand lightly. And you did. That's why you're here, not them. I smiled. Exactly. They tried to control me, humiliate me, take everything, and instead I became someone they could never control. And somehow that's enough. She squeezed my hand. You've earned peace finally. I have, I agreed, feeling it settle inside me like a warm blanket. The past was still there, but it didn't sting anymore. It was a memory, a lesson, not a chain. The waiter brought our food, but I barely noticed. Maya talked, laughed softly, and I felt a rare calm joy, unforced and real. It wasn't about triumph or revenge. It was about living. I took a bite of my meal and looked around the cafe. Families, couples, friends, they were living their lives. I was too. Freely, fully, without guilt or fear. After dinner, we walked through the quiet streets. The night was calm, city lights reflecting softly on the pavement. I breathed deeply, chest open, feeling life in its simplicity. This, I said quietly, more to myself than to Maya, this is enough. Not revenge, not approval, not validation, just this, freedom, peace, and the ability to choose my own life. Maya smiled, a knowing look in her eyes. And you chose well. I nodded, feeling it in my bones. I didn't take revenge. I just became someone they could never control. And that was enough. The night stretched around me, quiet, patient, and entirely mine. For the first time in years, I felt unshakable, complete, and free. I sat alone on my balcony, city lights stretching beneath me like a scattered constellation. The wind was cool, carrying the faint hum of life below. I hadn't thought much about the past in weeks, but tonight, memories stirred. I whispered to myself, all of it, the love, the loss, the betrayal, it changed me. Lucas called me earlier. You've come a long way, he said, teasing yet sincere. I have, I replied. But sometimes, I wonder if I would have survived without all of it. Survived? He laughed softly. You didn't just survive, you thrived. I smiled faintly, leaning back in my chair. Maybe. But it didn't feel like thriving at first. It felt like being crushed. Like every step forward was a fight against shadows that wouldn't let me breathe. Maya popped into my thoughts. I remembered her encouragement, her faith when I had none. She saw something in me I couldn't, I muttered. The phone buzzed. A message from Emily appeared. I hope you're happy. I typed slowly, deliberately, I am. And I hope you find peace too. I set the phone down and let my mind drift. The memories of Emily, the hurt, the laughter, the stolen moments, were bittersweet. I admitted it out loud. I miss the memories. I don't miss the pain, the fear, the control, but the memories, they linger. Lucas's voice echoed in my mind. Remember, your past doesn't own you. You decide who you are. I laughed softly, thinking about Mr. Hale, Mrs. Hale, and Daniel. Their attempts to control me, to define my worth, to dictate my life, they had failed. I realized that now. My success, my freedom, my choices, they were mine alone. I thought of Emily again. Her voice, fragile, desperate, sincere. I didn't feel anger anymore. Only understanding, compassion, and the quiet strength of someone who had endured and emerged whole. Maya's support, Lucas's loyalty, my own persistence. It all shaped the man I was today. A man who could stand tall, without fear, without needing validation from anyone who tried to control him. I exhaled, the night air filling my lungs. I am who I am, I whispered. I've loved, I've lost, I've been broken, and I've rebuilt myself stronger. The city stretched endlessly, lights flickering like reminders that life moves forward, relentless and forgiving. I smiled to myself, feeling a rare calmness, a quiet pride. I don't wish for what was lost anymore, I said softly. I honor it, I learned from it, but I no longer chase it. I live in the present, and I choose the future. I lifted my gaze to the sky. Stars above, distant and steady, seemed to mirror my own journey. Small beginnings, turbulence, eventual clarity. Finally, I whispered with certainty, almost as a promise. The past shaped me, but it no longer owns me. And in that moment, I truly believed it.